Welcome. This is the beginning of the 30 days of Glamour Magic. My name is Lola B, and I will be guiding you through daily applications of glamour techniques, focusing on color, focusing on mirror magic, and spell work that you can add to your current grimoire. This is a teaching platform, so I do encourage everybody to have notebooks, a writing utensil, and a mirror. Utilizing my face and using makeup. So if you don't have those glamour tools, that's okay, because we can also talk about simple ways to do the same techniques with whatever you have, as well as just, again, you writing those things down so you can always come back to it at any point in time. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about today's energy. I'm not sure if you're able to see it in my background on TikTok, but today is Monday. And I am safe to see myself is the affirmation that we'll be focusing on. Monday is all about reflection, emotions, intuition, self-love. It is ruled by the moon. So we're tapping into feminine energy here. Feminine energy, not male, female. Feminine energy. So anybody can embody feminine energy. Your feminine and masculine energy will rise or fall depending on how you want to operate within those two with the balance. And so for Monday, the affirmation is, I am safe to see myself clearly. So I did want to just start with that. Not only is it ruled by the moon, but it's associated as well with the crown or the Sahasrara, the Sahasrara chakra, which is your crown chakra, and is also associated with the zodiac sign Cancer, which is a water element. And it's really about invoking your power in healing energy when it comes to dealing with the moon. If you feel misaligned, if you're having any lack of clarity and decisiveness, as well as other things dealing with emotions like depression or things like that, then you can listen to 480 hertz frequency to help you be back aligned to this particular energy center with the crown chakra. Crown chakra represents understanding. I understand. And so the magic that we're going to be invoking and learning about today is Glamour Magic. What is Glamour Magic? When you look at the etymology of glamour, it actually means magic. And so when you talk about spell work, there's a lot of repetition. So literally, glamour magic just really means saying magic more than once. And when we do repetition, that is part of what boosts. When you are saying an incantation, that's part of what boosts whatever spell that you are trying to actually cast. So when you're conjuring, there's a lot of repetition. You'll notice that things are said usually in threes. So for the sake of this, Glamour Magic just means magic. Enchantment, being attracted by something interesting. That's the bare basic. Everybody gets kind of tripped up a lot with the words that we use as the English language has evolved. But to be able to talk about spiritual, universal concepts is one of those things where we can kind of tripped up on language. But when it comes to magic, it's something that we're all capable of. And we don't actually need a lot of tools to do so. Only thing that I really recommend is having the elements. So that would be water, which is very simple. Fire, which can be represented by a candle. Air, which I like to use smoke, so I have incense as well as my candle. And then earth, and so that is herbs. And so that being said, you could do any of your conjuring, any of your spell work without those. But when you have the elements and you're adding that along with a lot of the other things that you're using, your incantation, utilizing the planetary energy, as we're talking about Monday being ruled by the moon, all of those things in combination will boost the spell work that you're trying to conjure. So it also is today, the moon is actually in the sign of Taurus. So it's really good for like detoxing or fasting. And so for starting out with this particular session, before we get into, I do want to talk about my rule of 3, because when it comes to magic overall, I do feel like there has to be some rules to abide by. And now when you search the internet, you might find that type of information all over the place. So the ones that I feel like is very specific and that will work for this particular magic that we'll be discussing is these 3. Number 1, am I being specific? I taught on manifestations, and manifestations is always about being very specific. When you're putting things out into the universe, you don't want it to be ambiguous, because it's going to give you back exactly what you put out. So you want to be specific. Number 2, will it harm me or anyone else? Here at Moon Mood, whatever it is that we teach, one thing that we do not do, one thing that you do not want to do, or one thing that we don't do, one thing that we don't do in Moon Mood is we do not participate in teaching or conjuring any spell work that will inhibit anybody's free will. So if that's what you're into, because again, the internet is vast and there's resources all over, you can find practitioners that will help to officiate that type of spell work. That's not what I do here. So being specific is number one. Number two is, will it harm me or anyone else? That's really important. Number three, am I willing to take responsibility? Because for every action, there is a reaction. We live in duality. There's a cause and effect that is very much in play when we are here on earth. So everything that we do, something else will happen. Are you willing to take responsibility for the spell work that you are conjuring up? So again, number one, am I being specific? Will it harm me or anyone else? Number two. And number three, am I willing to take responsibility? That is the ethical code that I go by here on the Moon Mood when I'm teaching and officiating any type of spell work. So we do have an inspiration. Let's look at the inspiration so we can talk about the colors that are also associated with the moon, because today is Monday. Reflection, emotions, intuition, self-love, so on and so forth. So let me see how I can show that. Let me see what I can do for y'all over here. There you go, flip. So I'm just going to show you. You can see that is the inspiration. And so the colors are silver, white, maybe like a pearl, some iridescence, a soft blue, gray, purple. So that is what we're going to be trying to aim for. Now, what we come up with and what we actually do, I don't know. However, this is what we're aiming for. So let's explore that. My name is Lola B. This is the Moon Mood, where I live by the sun, take light from the sun and live by the moon, And we are jumping into 30 days of Glamour Magic, where I will be doing the glamour applications, focusing on color and mirror magic that you can add to your spell work. Today is Monday and is ruled by the moon, by reflections, emotions, intuition, self-love. And the affirmation for today is, I am safe to see myself clearly. We have up on the screen on Meet Me right now the colors silver, white, pearl, soft blue, gray, purple. It's like an inspiration pick for this makeup look that we're going to dive into. And we're going to continue to talk about what glamour is and how to use the mirror to boost your manifestation power. It's the practice of working on self-perception. So we're not getting into illusions just yet, which we absolutely can. However, we're going to take it slow, and we're first going to be talking about just self-perception, being able to look into the mirrors, look into the various different type of portals that we actually use, the phone being one of them, the mirror, any type of water where there's reflection, any type of glass. There's a lot of different portals. When we use those portals, we want to be able to perceive ourselves the right way first and foremost. The reason why that's important is because when it comes to, I'm just getting to my notes, y'all, because a lot of the messaging came through channels. So in order for you to even create illusions, like I said, we're going to get there. But right now we'll just be doing self-perception. And if you look at even our inspiration, it was just about it's not about creating a full-blown illusion. When you look at the inspiration, you can still see the person's features. Nothing is hidden. Nothing is really left to decipher. It's just accentuating certain things. Because in order to create illusion and for it to be effective in energy manipulation, it starts with a foundation. First, you have to be okay with how you look just like this. That's for starters. Be okay with this. And when you're okay with your foundation, as in not the foundation and makeup, with your bare face foundation. Because even though we're not the one that create energy, it still has to have a starting point. So you have to be okay with this first before you can even be able to create any type of anything. So that's why we're dealing with self-perception first. Manifestation works of being content, not discontent. So you have to be okay with where you're starting. But so let's continue to talk. I'm going to actually, because of the inspiration look, I do want to go ahead and I didn't do the prep to do the brows and stuff first, so we can talk and do that at the same time. I think I can. I think I can. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and thank you, girl. I'm going to go ahead and do my brows so we can get started and we can continue talking about why is it magic in the first place, right? So I got my mirror here, so I'm going to put it so that I can actually use it because I can't look into the phone and actually do it right. So do my brows. real quick. And so as you see my natural brows, I definitely start with a clean, dry but moisturized face. My natural brows, it ain't really a lot going on. Very thin. This is not shaped. This is nothing. Ain't nothing there. And that also is what helps. If the brows shape the face, another part of the whole magic of it all when you're using makeup in glamour is to go ahead and accentuate, as well as this is where an illusion would be created, in a sense, where my natural brows are very sparse. So therefore, that's what I'm going to focus on, trying to create that illusion, because they're not there, but I want them to look like they're there. So I am going on top of where the hair actually is. But, excuse me, this is a time where if you did want to create a different shape, if you want them to be thicker, thinner, whatever the case may be, that's what you can do. And so we're not going to go too much into foundations or makeup because, again, the girlies are killing the game. There's so many makeup artists that have the tutorials, that are doing the lives, that are doing everything, and they pretty much have it all laid out for you. I'm just going to talk about what I do to my face, because also that's another thing about embodiment, is to be very comfortable and to understand what works on my face. What do I want to accentuate? You know what I'm saying? So right now, the brows. The reason why it is considered magical is because of the realm that we are in. We're in a realm where we come here incarnate, and a lot of times we may come here to forget so that we can go through the remembering process all over again. And so it is for a very basic, simple reason why it is considered magical to go through that process of knowing self and then being able to take what you know about yourself and use that as a part of your manifestation power, because it's energy that's within. So we're transmuting energy. We're not creating it and we can't destroy it, but we're using our own energy. And in order to do that, in order to embody that, you have to know thyself and be comfortable with yourself. And so that's part of the reason why it's magical. For you, you are in command your reality in this existence. It has to do with the realm that we're in and how we're experiencing this particular timeline. We do live different lives and different timelines within a life. Because time isn't linear, within that duration or the starting or the ending, we can experience multiple timelines simultaneously. They're playing out, in case you didn't know that. We're going to see what we can do. I am safe to see myself clearly. I have my round mirror that's right here. And I have already meditated. I got on a little bit early, but I would always suggest I was playing 480 hertz frequency when I first came on. You can choose whatever type of calm and relaxing music that you want to, but I'm super intentional with the way that I go about it. So I'm making sure that I'm either aligning with the chakra, again, using the planetary energy. So if I'm going by the moon, and I know that the moon is related with the crown chakra, then that is the meditation music that I want to use. I'm saying during my incantation and during as I'm conjuring, to match and utilize. It's way better to utilize the energy that you can work with, that's within that your atmosphere, instead of contradicting it. Not to say that you can't just do it any day, but I just notice how intentional it is when you just do it based on the planetary energy. Remember your rule of three. Am I being specific? Will it harm me or anyone else? And am I willing to take responsibility? That's the 3 rules that I go by specifically when it comes to the moon mood and helping or officiating any conjuring of spell work. So I have the lightest concealer that I can find because I cannot find the white. And usually I use a completely different color to begin to clean up the brow. But because we want this very light to white, the silver, the very soft blue to pop on top of it, we're going to use a very light concealer first. And then I might have to move this here to be more like right here. So we were talking about living different lives and different timelines within a life, because the time isn't linear. And that is also the importance of why it's even considered magic to know thyself. Can you imagine different lifetimes and then not remembering and the veil, so on and so? It's pretty magical. I think the same thing when people saw Jesus doing miracles. It was only considered a miracle because it was like, who was around there doing what he was doing? Just out in the open. So certain stuff is very ordinary in the spirit realm. It comes across very magical in the earthly realm. But it's knowing who you are and commanding the reality of your existence. And it just becomes magical. But it's like we experience different timelines simultaneously. And it can be in flashes, can be seen in dreams at nighttime or even daydreaming. They can come in the form of memories. Past life regression comes up when it's unhealed issues. So there's multiple ways. It is multiple ways that we can have those memories, or just basically the proof, for better words, of multiple timelines existing and playing out simultaneously. But the more that we are in tune as we practicing, the more we remember who we are. And then that knowing allows us to then take on different forms. And again, we can use illusion to embody whatever it is that we want to align with. But we want to start out by just accentuating what we want to accentuate, which I always do that with the eyes. So yes, notion would be to go ahead and blend that out and down. We will be doing the rest of it. So let's get a palette. Let's get something gray, white, so we can start. The specific. Am I being specific? Rule number 1. The specific in what I am trying to accomplish today is seeing myself. So starting with the lightest color, I will go ahead and let's do white in the inner corner and the brow first. Because I feel like I'm going to be putting that back on top at a certain point, but we're just going to pack it in with a very flat shadow brush. Just so that's there first, because I have a feeling I'm gonna have to add more. But for now, I'm just gonna pack it in and drag it down. So looking at it, I think I want to do the white first, right? In the inner corner and the brow bone, and then start adding the blue on top. Adding the white first not only will help the blue pop, but it also will make it lighter. And I think I have a palette that has like light, that frosty blue type of color. So we're going to see in a second. So I'm just going to pack it in, not blending it, just placing it first. Letting any fallout just happen. I want it to be as white as we can right there. We're going to add some more. In the inner corner is always easier to add more to after the fact. If you don't have one of these are a gold godsend when it comes to switching up colors and stuff mid application. Just drag it across there. Brush is back clean. All right, so let's see. I have that blue color. I feel like it's right there, but it's got a shimmer to it. So I don't want to add it just yet. I think I want a non-shimmer blue base first. Find the right color. And then we'll get back to the conversation because then I have a whole nother palette that has a lot of different colors here. So we got to figure out which one to use, and a lot of different blues as well. It seems like everything has the shimmer in it, but we'll try to go, what y'all think about this one? We'll try to go with this one. So I'm going to go ahead and start applying that to the inner corner first. Remember, we're going to add more white after the fact, or even the shimmer one on top of this one will be pretty. So I am just dragging it. I'm not blending because there's nothing to blend it with just yet, but I am just dragging it with the flat brush out over the lid. Now I have a lot of eye space, which is the reason why I always use my Glamour Magick. When I'm using makeup, I always focus on my eyeshadow because I have very big eyes, and then I also have very prominent brow bone, and it just gives me a lot of space to work with. So that's just what my preference is. So with the inspiration, we're also going to start creating our own little, that's why it's called inspiration. It's not going to be exactly like, but we're going to get the feel of it. So I'm just put a little bit of blue right there because I'm going to start blending that as well. So it looks like it looks like a little like a mauve type of color that's in the crease, or sorry, the transition area. So we're going to get a different brush and we're going to find a very light purple. And for Monday, it's about our intuition. Monday is about our feelings and things like that. How are we feeling? And what power can we evoke? Because a lot of times our power is not in our feelings, but acknowledging how we feel is very important too. So now let's find a purple that we can drag in the transition area right there. Thank you for joining. My name is Lola B, and this is the Moon Mood. And this is where I take light from the sun and live by the moon. We're doing 30 days of Glamour Magick. And with that, it's going to be daily applications of glamour techniques, which, as you see, I like to do makeup. And so glamour techniques to add to your current grimoire and spell work. And we're going to be focusing on color as well as mirror magic. All right, so thank you for joining. Grab a notebook, something to write with, some glamour tools, your questions, and your insight. I would love to hear if you've used makeup in this type of capacity. If you have any suggestions right now. These are some of our base colors that I'm kind of just setting a foundation because we're going to be putting that shimmer and sheen on top. So far, so good. I'm accentuating my eyes. I don't really have a lot of space to be able to do that. And that way, it also, the reason why I like to do the Glamour Magic with the eyeshadow is because I don't have to just pick one color. And not saying that you do in other ways, because you can obviously, we're going to be talking about somewhere in the 30 days, we're going to be talking about clothing, we're saying hair, just how to embody it in different ways. And so when we're talking about color, I want to be able to use all the colors. I'm a very colorful individual, so it's real easy to do it with makeup than it is to do it with other. If you're not that confident with fashion, I'm pretty confident with that as well. But if I was to give some advice, I would say that it's easy to do it with makeup. Then I'm going to just drag that onto the whole. And so it's real simple because now that part is done. What we want to do is we want to continue adding colors to blend before we put the shimmer on top. And that's just to make sure that we didn't lose anything while we added different colors. So now I'm going back to add my blue again in my inner so I can drag it now that I have the blending brush, which is fluffier, to go ahead and make sure that it's seamless from inner eye to transition and lid color and it being the same because we wanted to add that soft plum purple color. So we just drag that in there like that. We can also go ahead straight on the blending brush just to add that blue back here and drag that down. And that helps to separate a lot of that white, bring that white back down because we'll be adding it again as a final highlight in the brow. And that's what I should have did on this side. I should have blew some of that fallout off, but it's okay. You just keep blending. It removes product, but then it helps you to seamlessly see where you are with it. I think that's pretty good because we're going to now put the glitter, the glimmer, the shimmer on top. And so we have multiple ways to do that because I have a palette that has the purple, the blue, just a lot of shimmer going on. So let's figure out exactly which one we want to use. Because of the dramatic wing, the liner, I think I'm going to go in and deepen before the shimmer on top. Let's go in darker purple or use darker purple or black or brown just for that outer corner. Just pat right there and bring some depth into that outer corner right there. And that'll help to deepen up. That was a darker purple that I put. So I did a lighter purple to blend it and a darker one in this particular in the corner because that's where the liner is going to be met with. And it just helps for it to look more seamless for a nice little blend from the color and from dark to light. And we can drag it over in the crease as well. And go ahead and dust that lighter purple back on top. A nice little seamless blend. All right. I am ready for the shimmer. So we're going to do purple. There's 3 different purples I can choose from. So let's see. I'm going to dip my brush in a few of them so I can see which one I feel like I want to use. So them on my hand, it's really hard to see on camera. But I think the last one is the one that I want to use. So I'm going to use the same flat brush. I done cleaned it off. And I'm literally just going to pat inside of the shimmer purple. And then I'm going to just pat that on top in the middle. They're right on top. There is silver that I wanted to add on top of the inner corner part that we did. I'm going to go in, add a little bit more. So I'm using the silver on top because it really doesn't matter what color is underneath. Once you put this on top, it's just going to make the whole eye is going to now have the glimmer. Go to the beauty supply store. That's a tip as well. Especially when it comes to being a beginner. You don't have to spend a bunch of money. Sometimes it is technique, is not the products. Now, to just get the gist, you can use drugstore stuff. Go to the drugstore, go to the beauty supply store. Elf is a good starter brand for a lot of brushes if you want the different brushes and it's very inexpensive. spending just a couple dollars. You don't have to go crazy, because the more techniques that you learn and you find out what supplies that you actually need, then you can go through that process to spending money. But even go after the ones that maybe go after some kits, brush kits, eyeshadow kits that will have brushes with them. And we're not talking about the little sponge applicator, even though I'm not going to knock it, because we got to start somewhere. The little dual end little applicator is still very effective. The one, the ones that's like a little mini Q-tip, you can use those. But you want to get you some decent eyeshadow brushes, because they're different than face brushes, to be able to do any of the detail work. But that's pretty much the base for the eyes. What were we talking about? We were talking about being in tune, practicing. The more we remember who we are, and then knowing allows us to take on those different forms. Clean them. Get one of these, so that when you're messing with the different colors, it's literally just a little swoosh around, cleans it, and you can keep on playing. I was talking about this little brush cleaner situation. I did prime, so we can go ahead and start doing the rest of the face. I'm going to do some eyeliner, which is also very evoking some feminine energy as well. But that's when we can really talk about illusions in the body and what we want to align with. We are just multi in every sense. So it doesn't make sense for us to only want to tap into one part of yourself. Once you really come to know how deep you are, you're going to want to tap into different parts of yourself. And it's really a liberating thing to do so. I'm not good at winged liners, what I was trying to say. So depending on what color you line with, sometimes the eye will open up more, or sometimes it looks smaller. This is where some of the illusion does come into play, because you can create a whole different shape with using the liner. Usually my intention when I am doing my eyeshadow is I want people to look me in my face. I want people to not be able to not look anywhere else but my eyes. So that's usually what I'm doing. I'm taking the time. No matter what else I do in the rest of my face, if I'm doing the eyeshadow, it's purposely here. So, but yes, as I was saying, we're multi in every sense. And so tapping into different versions of ourselves through portal travel. Okay, so we're going to take one line there. And it's like a little felt tip. And so I do have to keep dipping. That's not that bad. Now, getting both eyes to do the same, that's usually the part that's a little bit harder. And so this, all right. And see, as you see how it's starting to create a different whole shape of my eye by the way that I made it point more down in the inner corner like that. And then we're bringing it up on the outer corner like that. So even though I said that the emphasis in the beginning wasn't about creating a lot of illusions, because I'm not transforming my entire face, I'm just accentuating and putting the illusion where I want it to be. So the challenge is to mirror this on this side. That's the challenge, mirroring this on this side, which I'm right-handed. I started with my right eye and it came out decent. We're going to try to translate that over to the other side, starting midway, doing my wing, and then going to the inner corner. Then we're going to do the under eye, the rest of the face, and we'll be able to do the double. And then compare, but put it with our inspiration and see how far we got with that. So midway through, and it's felt, so we just drag, all right, all the way to the end, and then drag it back up to the front. As I was saying, the whole design is to tap into different versions of self through portal travel and to borrow information that you're then being able to apply to the outer world. That's what it's all about. So it's a lot simpler than we make it, but yes. So let's try to create our line again. And so I just feel like it's not going to be the same, but it's okay because you can fix things with makeup as well. I'm going to try not to have to do that. I'm going to try to, whatever it is what it's going to be. That's kind of what I'm going to do. Because I can obsess. You can obsess over trying to get the wing perfect. It is definitely practice. Because I never can get the other eye right. As you can see, I'm struggling. I always feel like I have to fix the outer corner more because I can never flick it up the same way that I did the other one. But it is starting to get there. And then again, because it's felt and it's liquid, you do have to keep going back in and dipping to make sure that there's something on the tip when we are trying to apply it. So I feel like I did really good with the right eye. Now the left one, I'm not really all that sure. I don't know what we're doing on the left side, but it's okay. We're going to fix that But I'm going to go ahead and let that dry down, and I'm going to work on the under eye while we continue talking about being multi in every sense and being able to really embrace. That's the reason why today's affirmation was, how are you showing up and embodying new you? I do believe that the astrological and new year that's aligned more with nature is going to be in the spring. However, I don't see nothing wrong with setting goals and intentions the first of the month. So will be participating in that. What are your plans? How are you embodying your full self going into the new year? Again, my name is Lola B. This is the Moon Mood, where we do take light from the sun and live by the moon. We're doing 30 days of Glamour Magic. Today is day 1. Thank you for being here. Today is day 1, and today is Monday. We've crossed over now in certain time zones to the next day, but we started at Monday with reflection, emotions, intuition, and self-care, of love in every form. And our affirmation today is, I am safe to see myself clearly. And I think a lot of what I'll be teaching as well when it comes to the Glamour Magic can assist with that process, because I'm really big on manifestation, being very specific, intentional. And as we talked about with our spell work, our rule of 3 is, am I being specific? Will it harm me or anyone else? And am I willing to take responsibility? So those are the 3 things that we want to focus on when we're doing our conjuring. And crown chakra and the Cancer is the astrological sign. Water is the element. And understanding self is where we're starting and invoking our power when it comes to this Glamour Magic and being able to take this as far as we want it to go. All right, so let's go ahead and keep it moving. So now it looks like, too, if I think about the water element, the sign for the water is the upside down triangle. And that is exactly where I feel like a lot of the highlight of the face is here going here. So we'll take that same light color that we started with, because we have 2 different light colors. And I'm going to conceal the dark marks with the regular color. And then we're going to do the under eye and all the highlight with the lighter color. And this is just the order that I do my makeup in order, because I want to enhance the liner. And in order for me to do that, I need to have my under eye and stuff together. So now we're going to do this one toward the outer and bring it up. And then we're going to do the lightest one. Let me check. We're going to do here and be able to drag it down here. Again, the triangle. Boom. With the point being where the lip is. So boom. That's where the lightness is going to be. So now I can just go ahead and spray my face directly and start blending. It'd be a lot for this part. But I like I'm okay with the flash with the under eye. I like it to be bright. So that's just me. So we're going to move my mirror and I'm just going to get into it. I'm not the type of spiritualist just says, oh my gosh, January 1st is not the real new year. So it doesn't matter, because just like how we're doing right now, I can go ahead and embody whatever energy I want to embody at whatever time. So if in the middle of the winter I do want to make positive changes and set some new intentions at the beginning of a month, that's okay to do that, even though it's technically not the astrological new year and the new year in nature. So don't let nobody tell you that you can't do that. Still set your goals, still be very specific, still be very intentional. Because also everything doesn't work for everybody. So when you are learning different techniques and stuff like that, you have to actually be confident, try different things, and be okay when what worked for this person didn't work for you. You might have to try something else. It's called practicing for a reason. When you practice something, you do it over and over again. And then you then hopefully take techniques that you feel like worked with that process and figure out what you can actually carry over. So it's okay to play around. So we're going to keep blending with the sponge. But I learned that it was nothing that I could carry. And so because of that, I'm stepping into heavy manifestation to continue to call in what I want to call in. So as I was telling another viewer at the calendar new year, and you got some manifestations that you're trying to align yourself with. And so we were talking about reflections, emotions, feminine energy, intuition, self-love. Our affirmation is, I am safe to see myself clearly, because we need a foundation of being okay with the bare face, with the nothing, with the bare bones, with just whatever you are. Manifestation first works with content. It doesn't work out of discontent. It works in contentness. So that's where we're starting. If you want to really evoke that power, then you have to first be okay with where you are. Again, associated with the crown chakra. So if you feel misaligned in any type of way with that particular energy center, then go ahead and play 480 hertz, which you can look up on the interwebs. 480 hertz. You can go for the pure tone if you're used to that. Sometimes I like to play the pure tone just off on another device and have it just ringing out when I'm in the room just doing other things, because it is connecting in the subconscious. Or you can find the hertz frequencies. There's music that using that frequency. You'll be able to feel if it's right. I know a lot of people, it's hard going on the internet finding reliable information, but I really feel like you'll be able to feel what's right when you're looking for it. All right, so that's my under eye now. I need to go ahead and set it. It's a great time to do any detoxing or fasting with the current moon being in Taurus right now. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and try to set this so we can continue on with the rest of the eye look, because we had some different eyeliner. It was like a double liner, and the only way for the double liner was to make sure that the under eye was ready. So that's now to that point to go back to that, as well as getting the glue for the lashes, because you can't really finish out unless you got some lashes. That's kind of what I think. It's kind of hard to do a full look without the lashes, especially when I'm accentuating the eye. Let's also remember, as we talked about ethics when it comes to spell work, this work is for self-embodiment, confidence, and personal alignment. Here at the Moon, we work specifically with clarity, consent, and care. We do not influence, manipulate, or override anyone's free will, and we do not cause intentional harm. So all energy is always grounded, protected, and returned to a balanced state. So everything that we do is in a high positive vibration. So we can keep going as I am trying to get to the end of the eyes. Just to give a nice little double line. And I don't know what it's giving. We just do this side. Remember, this side wasn't as crisp and sharp as the other side, right? We can go ahead and add that double line at the bottom and bring it to the... Damn near gotta hold your breath, because you don't want to put the black where you don't want it to go, and it's harder to get it off that way. As I was saying, I'm not really that great at the liner, but this is also about learning. And so I take a good tip also, because it's wet, because it's liquid liner, to let it dry, and then you can fix any errors, because I messed up on the inner part right there. But it's all good. We're gonna keep going. Another thing, what makes it so magical too, is because who's going to know? You know that y'all know the sound that came out a long time ago. How would they know when you're embodying certain things and you're saying, then this is what I'm doing? Who gonna tell you? Who gonna check you? Who gonna tell you it's not so? That's one of the advantages that we have in just doing what we do. Can't nobody, you give it meaning. And if you're utilizing planetary energy, if you're utilizing things for the day, the certain moons, different things like that, then there will be meanings that's already attached to it. But we're still pretty much the ones that made up all of this, everything, right? So it's at the same time, I feel like nobody can tell you that something doesn't mean what it means to you, right? So even when you mess up, did you really mess up? Did I really mess up? Who's going to look at that and be like, oh, I messed up? Yeah, maybe a makeup artist can look at it and see. But at the same time, how is anybody else going to? That's a part of embodiment. How is anybody else going to tell me that what I'm choosing to embody is something's wrong with it? Or there's an error. Nobody can tell me that. Nobody can tell me that. I am fixing the part where my hand got a little unsteady. Fixing that part. And then we can go back and add it. Now, I do have, because normally with the under eye, I use a pencil. We did a double line. And now I want to add the lashes, which I'm going to go get the lash glue. We're going to get some lashes. Usually you would get the lashes that will not cover up all the beautiful work that you did. So it really just depends on how the rest you want to take it up a notch. And then you can just finish off the rest of the face. I'm not really big on a lot of the contouring. And again, stick around. It's 30 days of Glamour Magic. So we might actually get into some things, because that's the best part about teaching, is you're also learning. So yeah, I like my big nose, but you could be contoured to certain things that we could do. We're going to get to that part in just a second to make sure that you properly seal and close your mirror after using it. So let me blend the face makeup, go get the lashes, and then we're going to close out on just a recap of what is Glamour Magic, how we're going to be using it with color and mirror magic for the next 30 days. This is the beginning of the 30 days. So you have not missed a thing. You're right where you are supposed to be. Gotta get that nose. And hopefully bring your inside as well so that you can help. Because like I was saying, the best part of being a teacher is being a student. When I tell you I need it, a lot of my face makeup usually is to cover up dark marks, and my pores are always so prominent and big and whatnot. So, right, yeah, I'm ready to clear my face up, and I'm ready to start having to replace those bad habits from the inside out as well. But definitely been seeing all the ads and all the reviews, and I really want to use it. So I've went my whole life with a lot of open pores on my nose and the blackheads and whiteheads and just a lot of adult acne, cystic, I think, and hormonal, different things like that. So I'm ready. So you're starting to work over time. And that is a lot of what works into the whole glamour magic of it all as well, because consistency is always the key. I'm going to get the lash glue to put the lashes on, and then we can finish up with some blush. I always accent my beauty marks and then do a lippy and then call it a night. I think we did pretty good. We will be creating illusions. But again, starting with self and being able to actually love who you are from the inside out. That is what helps this, because this is supposed to be accentuation. Even if it's creating illusions, I created a different eye shape with the liner, but that's something very subtle. I still have to be okay with every part of myself before I start to enhance or creating illusions with it. I need my mirror because I'm going to apply the glue straight to my eyeball. I also have been into the minkies lately. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I promise you they're not the same. Which one should we do? 1 kind of 4, 2, because it's kind of spaced out and not as much. It's slightly different than 3 and 5. Very special incantation that I want us to start doing every single day. That's why I said take notes, because 30 days we should have it memorized, but we're going to jump in with being new until we can memorize it. And it's always good. Writing is a memory exercise too, so we can write it down and then be able to say it every single day. I think we're going to go with 4. I literally just wore these and I do like them a lot. So I have my little tweezers, very fine point. And I barely placed it. I didn't even press it down yet. But look at it. See how much it just opens the eye up? As soon as you, it just finishes up. So let me press it down. Get it up in there. There we go. And see how easy it was once I put the lash on my actual eye instead of on the strip? Beautiful lash. Perfect. That was a perfect number to pick, number 4. That's another thing. Anybody got any tips about the bottom lashes? I went to an Austin Powers theme party and I wanted to do the bottom lashes, kind of doing that 70s thing so bad, but I didn't. I was like, do I just need to release the perfectionism of it, the way that it looks? Because I couldn't get the bottom lashes to look the way that I wanted them to look. And I don't think I was using the right glue. I don't know. So anybody that have any tips about the bottom lashes, please let me know, because that's something I want to get into doing as well. All right. So we are done with the eyes. Now we're going to, let me find brushes I need to finish up the face. And then we will close this portal that we've been using. There's plenty of portals right here in front of me. I have a computer screen, 2 phones, a camera, and a mirror, right? So I'm going to teach you how to make sure that you're closing all of this. Now, when you're using the mirror and when you're using the glamour, I could have put this on any time of day. I could have put this on in the morning time. That's another thing that I want to dispel the myth of, because I played into it a little bit. Day looks versus night looks. It could be a thing, but then at the end of the day, whatever I'm trying to embody, I want to do heavy. I call myself a drag queen. If I want to do heavy eyeshadow and dramatic lashes to go to work at 8 in the morning, that's what I'm going to do. Because I'm trying to embody. This is what I always say about this. It's like I said, the intention and the whole purpose is the information. Inside, pull it out, right? So some rules are going to have to be broken. Looking in the mirror, I think everything looks pretty blended to me, so it's cool. Like I said, I don't do a lot of contouring, but I do like to accentuate my cheekbones. And this is just with my eyeshadow palette. And I use a little angle brush to do that so that I can get here and here, right? Then we use another fluffy for the blush. So we're gonna do a pinkish. I start at my cheek and then I bring it up to the side like that. There's the blush, but there's the pink. So remember, our colors were silver, white, pearl, soft blue, gray, purple, and it was like a pink. And then that's the pink blush. All right. So most of the other looks will probably dive more into the more dramatic lippies, but I'll do my go-to for the sake of being done, which is just like a black or brown liner. And then I like to use, this is like a Make It Shine gloss, but it's like a tinted pink. So I like to use pinks, even though it's not a natural look, it's the closest to my natural lip color. So then when it goes on, you just get that. It just makes it so where your lips ain't bare. But when we do more subtle eyes, as we're going in, I pick different inspirations, and I always go toward more the drama, but I am going to try to tone it back so we can do more lip popping, more looks that pop with the lips. And then when my face was bare, these are all the spots where I have a little beauty mark. So I just go ahead and darken them up, and black usually works the best for them to stand out. And it's liquid liner, so once it dries down, it's not going anywhere. Then it's all said and done, could put some setting powder with the big face fluffy brush. And I do have some CoverGirl. One of the best setting powders that I ever had was from Black Opal. But this is CoverGirl and it is tinted. So I do have it in a brown. Because sometimes, I'm just in the other mirror real quick, y'all. Sometimes the setting powder, even when it's supposed to be translucent, will give a little cast on the face. And for the melanated in us, I don't want it to be like this white cast on my face just when I'm trying to set the final look. So this is it. All right. We're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap it up. It is time to close the portals. I do a protection prayer first. You can repeat after me if you followed along, or if you took anything from this. You could write it down. We would say this every single night. And then that way we'll have our incantation to close out all this glamour magic that we just did. So today we started on Monday. We were tapping into the moon energy. The moon is in Taurus. And so it's a perfect time to do any detoxing or cleansing work as we're going into the new calendar year. Today, we focused on color magic by going ahead and using the colors that represent the moon: silver, white, pearl, soft blue, gray, purple, a little bit of pink, for this nice look that we had with our inspiration that we showed on Meet Me. And we made it our own. We're trying to get better at accentuate eyes with our eyeliner, lashes, different things that we like to do. Didn't create a lot of illusions today, but we did learn that the moon is associated with the crown chakra. It is the water element, also associated with the astrological sign of Cancer. And if you want to be more aligned with your crown chakra, there's plenty of things that you can do. However, 480 hertz frequency pure tone or any music created with that will help you to do so. Clearing out any lack of clarity or indecisiveness or any other mental things. Last but certainly not least, the portals. So first, when it comes to the mirrors, and I have this mirror that I was using. And so this is what I'm going to have to do to both of them. You do have to cleanse them. Okay, so I use alcohol, and I just take my black cloth that I'm going to cover my mirror with, and I take it and I put a little alcohol in the corner, and I go ahead, and what works for me is to do, when I clean the mirror, when I begin, I do clockwise because I am going forward with my spell. And then when I am closing the portal, I'm going to do counterclockwise, circular motions, and I'm going to clean the mirror first. Counterclockwise with the alcohol, with my black cloth on the mirror. This is the mirror that I used. All right. Then we incantate. I am in full control of how I present myself. With specific and precise intention, every application amplifies my inner being. I attract only what I allow, and I repel all that serves me none. And this glamour is sealed in clarity and care. I'm going to repeat it one more time. I am in full control of how I present myself. With specific and precise intention, every application amplifies my inner being. I attract only what I allow, and I repel all that serves me none. This glamour is sealed with clarity and care. So mote it be. That's it. Very simple. So if you want to, you can also do the alcohol, the rubbing on all the screens. So clean your phone, clean your computer, your cameras, and you can close up all the portals. The reason why it's important to close the portals is because we have opened it to invite energy in to be able to use it for our spell work, right? But then know that portals are both ways. So we can't just have it one way where a portal is open and then we are not 100% in control of all the energy that may come in. I work with the angels. I have already evoked and commanded Archangel Michael just to watch over this whole situation. So we've been covered with all the swords. But after that is then when I want to also be intentional when I know that I'm backing out. It's really sloppy spell work to just try to get things from the internet and just only see one side of it. There's a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end. So to properly end and close things out, if you're burning things, it may be something you have to do with the ashes. It may be something you have to do with the candle wax. It may be something, I'm saying, that you have to flush down the toilet or use the water system. You may have to bury it and use the earth. You may have to release it in the wind to use the air. We're going to be using the elements. And so when it's all said and done, every single notion of the steps that you use in your spell work, you also want to make sure that you're closing everything out and ending it properly. That's what's going to make it effective. That's also showing the universe that you are freaking serious instead of just slapping things together and just doing any old type of thing. I just feel like it's just way more effective when you learn how to properly close things out. We're going to get together and we're going to do some more Glamour Magic. We're going to learn a lot more techniques. We're going to continue talking through spell work, making sure that we honor our ethic code and make sure that we're learning from each other. So the next time you come in, if you haven't already favored or followed me, and wherever you're following or wherever you join tonight, make sure and have those post notifications on when you see me, because we will come back and we will continue on this journey for 30 days and hoping to continue to enhance and to boost our manifestation power by using Glamour Magic. All right, so that is done. And usually what you would like to do, especially when you're done, you do want to cover with the black cloth or with any cloth, solid color, something that will help to properly finish sealing out mirror that was used for the work. And you can put this in the closet, in the back, under, I'm saying, something where it's not being, that mirror for that magic is not being used for everything. Literally, this little round mirror is literally the mirror that I use every time I do lashes, every time I do when I want to get close to my face. So this mirror usually is only used for the one thing. So I can literally put something on top of it, throw it into the closet, and I don't have to get it back out until I'm going to do makeup again. So that's usually. So if you don't have a little handheld mirror, you can get them from the beauty supply stores, the dollar stores, anywhere, whatever. If they have dual size, magnifying, stuff like that, if you really want to get all up in there, then you can do that. Otherwise, use whatever that you have. I don't want anybody to feel like they got to run out and buy a whole bunch of things, because the most powerful magic is literally just using your thoughts and your words. But we'll get to it. So we are done. And I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything as it pertains to everything that we were talking about. Just remembering that before glamour was public, it was definitely personal. So the mirror, we're not using it as a tool for judgment. It's for self-awareness. So the more that we look into this mirror every single day, the more we should be comfortable with ourselves, because we start off with a clean base and foundation that we have to be okay with before we even start to create any illusions. So it's not about, we don't rush the journey. But seeing myself clearly means that I'm going to see everything. So I might see some things I don't like. But this process is teaching you how to be able to command that in your reality, to be able to change what you don't like and be aligned with what you do. Color is going to speak directly to your nervous system. That's the reason why there are colors associated with the different days and will evoke different emotions. So make sure you're honoring your inner world, being gentle with your reflection, whatever it is you see, before we get into putting everything on. Just be safe, again, to see yourself clearly. That is the affirmation for Mondays, the moon day. Each day we'll build from here, and then we'll work with different energies, and we'll slowly start to put it together as the weeks progress on. So thank you for beginning today with me, because this was very intentional and this was very powerful for me. I just want to say Happy New Year to everybody. Hopefully you have already established how you're going to present yourself. And I do have a little prompt that I can leave you with just for some reflection. What did you notice about yourself gently as you go through this exercise, as you're using the planetary energy of the day to accentuate and glamorize yourself in whatever way that you felt comfortable? Did you feel any resistance? Did you feel anything soften? Just remember that glamour always begins in safety and contentness. Once you are content and safe with who you are and what your foundation is, then you can build upon that to create whatever illusions and align yourself with exactly what it is that you like, want, so on and so forth. And that is it.